make that decision, you know, both ways.
Mm.
And that's the question, everybody.
We're live.
Very
Hi,
overwhelming.
John.
Hey,
Oh,
everybody.
yeah.
Hi. We're
I
live.
Good
morning, John.
Welcome.
Yeah.
To our daily success call. There's Esther and Ethne, Gail, and Caroline. Hey guys, there's Therese. Star, who's that with you, Star?
Oh, that's my little Elvie.
Hey, welcome. And there's Mark, Gary. Good to see you, Gary, Faye, Leon. Welcome. I see Kitty's on the phone. There's Sharon, Tasha, Jane, Neil, Renee, Coral. Welcome, everyone. There's Heather. Hey, Heather. Hey, Bissell. Jamie. All right, so I got a new game. The game is whoever's talking at exactly the top of the hour gets to be the host. That would be Ethne. What?
Cool.
Ethne, please proceed.
Uh-oh.
Hello, hello,
All right.
hello.
Hello.
Hello,
I
hello.
hear you,
Hey,
Adrian.
Adrian, we hear you.
This thing on?
No. I had problem with me mic. I just want to speak to. Is anybody trading in Amazon in the UK and importing from China, because they've got some information what might help them, which I found out today.
All right, let's talk about that. I came in on a conversation where there was a lot of talk about sourcing and kind of paying the additional fee. Jamie was talking about that to just get that part handled and what have you. If you guys want to talk a bit about that today, we could certainly do that. So Chad, are we sourcing from Chad? Is that what's happening here, Adrian?
No, the thing what's happening is I ordered some sample. I've ordered one of my products from Vietnam, and I had a problem with getting it into the UK, and I didn't know about it because it was got stranded in Germany. So me poster people got in touch with me and said, "Do you have an EORI number?" I went, "No, what is that?" They said he needs to be registered with the HMRC, so they know that you're importing products from out of the EU. And if you don't have one of these, it can cause issues. So the question I asked earlier on was anybody trading from outside the EU into the UK? Because if they do, I would recommend them to get this EORI number. It's free. You just need to register it with HMRC. So what happens then is HMRC, that number is matched with your products, what's coming outside Europe, and it just makes it easier for the HMRC, making sure that it's not illegal or anything like that. And you need one of these, and I'm just wondering if anybody had one, because I've done mine today, so mine's sorted. So this is why I wanted to ask. I don't know what it is for America, but in the UK you do need it.
Absolutely, you must have one of those numbers or you can't import from overseas. End of story.
There it is. All right,
Yeah,
case closed on that.
Adrian,
Yeah.
actually, I've been importing jewelry from Thailand for quite a long time now, and I don't have one of those numbers. I just actually rely upon the carrier to actually do the customs inventory and the accessibility to the UK. So and it's a nominal charge, it's not enormous, which saves me a lot of headaches in importing to the UK. So I don't have one of those numbers.
Yeah, I've applied one for today. It's free. It's just for the HMRC to know that you're importing outside the EU, and they can match when you give this number you get from the HMRC and you give it to your freight forwarder or whoever you're getting it from, then the HMRC know it's going to you, it's not going to anybody else, and they know what it's for. And it's just a question.
Are you VAT registered then?
No, I'm not. You can do it. I'm not VAT registered, and my career said I don't have to be VAT registered. Just get this registered so you're ready to get stuff. Because now I've got it, my products are okay. They're coming into the country with no issues. It's just that when you order samples, just say to your postage people that these are samples. HMRC will recognize that the samples, and everything should be okay, and it matches to all your products as well, what you import outside the EU as well.
Got it. All right, guys, we're going to move on from this topic. This sounds like a great before session conversation. This sounds really awesome. I know we got a lot of people that are looking to do the importing, and and all that. I think the larger topic that everyone can relate to here is the idea of being prepared for what you're about to execute. And also, like I was hearing Jamie talk about just before we went live, is the idea of, in some cases, investing a little bit more over here to gain a whole lot more mileage over here. So I know we're 5 minutes in already. And so I don't mean to cut everybody off, but we are live across the interwebs right now. So Jamie, in fact, if I could have you come out here, if everyone else is okay, that we move into our main topic for today. Is that okay with you guys? I don't mean to cut off Lynn, Julie, Cannon, everybody, Adrian, we good?
Yeah.
We good?
Yes, that's good.
It's not my mission in life to offend anyone,
Yeah,
although
I'm
some
okay.
people will be regardless. Okay,
You're
good.
fine, John.
That's good.
Very good. All right. So, Jamie, if you would, you were just talking about the concept of if there's a way to leverage, this is the thing, if there's a way to leverage someone else's experience, expertise, competence to your own advantage, right? Even if that costs a little bit of money, well, my goodness. Now, does that mean we cut our margins? Maybe. Does that mean that we find a better way? Here's where I'm going with this. Do we find a better way to not only recover that expertise, right, that we invested in, but then to pass that on to the buyer who gladly pays it? Here's the thing, guys. Let's look around right now. This is the reality of online business, okay, and even offline. In fact, I'll offer you a story. Here's a story. So there's this guy. He's got a problem with a piece of plumbing, a water heater or something, okay, a plumbing defective device. And he's working on it and trying to figure out what's wrong with it. He can't figure it out. He calls the plumber, right? And so the plumber arrives and he goes in, he does the thing. The thing is fixed in like 3 minutes. Done. Okay. Hands the guy the bill, hands the customer the bill. $100. Itemized list, parts, $5, labor, $95. Right. And so the customer, balks, oh, it's 3 minutes. You came in, you had $95 labor. You said, no, hold on. Yeah, $3 for the part, $95 for the 20 plus years that I invested to learn how to do this in 3 minutes. How long did you just spend on it, right? Now, that wouldn't be a very, that example wouldn't be a very ethical thing for someone to, as a customer, right? Now the customer's crying, they just got their problem solved, right? And God bless the plumber guy who could knock this stuff out in 3 minutes because he's got like 50 other people to help today. Can you show up as that in the marketplace? And if so, does that not command more of a price? Now, I know we're talking about typically physical products here with e-commerce in the Amazon world. Certainly people are buying stuff, right? This is a piece of stuff and it's going to come in a cardboard box and it's going to end up on my doorstep. Thank you for this stuff. However, I was just today, I was on Amazon looking at some stuff and there were multiple different versions of that same stuff. Isn't that interesting? So for a person who likes quality, could I have spent less? I could have spent less. Did I? No, I spent more. Buy it once, buy it right. Was it buy once, cry once, something like that. Anyway, the idea that people will pay for quality, I think for some people is a lost concept. Like they just assume because we tend to read our own autobiography into, other people. We tend to compare our insides to other people's outsides. Dangerous thing to do, by the way, especially if you're on social media where everybody's Rockefeller, everyone's life is awesome. And you're wondering about, well, what about me? Is something wrong with me? No, hold on a second. Okay. So there's a facade. Okay. But don't assume that people wouldn't be willing to pay more for your expertise, your guidance, your authority. Yes. Think about Sophie. So here we are, just look around the group, right? Everyone's here leveraging someone's experience, and not just one person, but in this case, a whole staff of people led by Sophie, who has certainly demonstrated fruit on the tree, right? There's the result when it comes to specifically what you want to do. Can you go watch YouTube videos and get free advice from people about how to do Amazon? Sure you can. Lots of people do that. Lots of people lose money. Do you have to invest in your future, in your education? Do you have to? No, you don't have to do a damn thing. You don't have to buy Blue Sky. You don't have to show up on these calls. You don't have to be successful on Amazon. You don't have to reach your goals. You don't even have to set goals. This is all a choice. So considering that, we as individuals as individuals, we have the ability to choose. Thank goodness, right? I'm going to go ahead and mute the mics. Hey, Kenneth, how you doing, brother? All right. So we have the ability to choose what we're willing to invest in. Now, in the case that, and I said I was going to ask James to come out here. He hasn't gotten a word in yet, but we'll open it up here in just a second. In the case of, you know what, I've got all these complications. I've got all these pieces that need to fit into this puzzle. And here is, let's say 10 of these 100 pieces that are in the puzzle. Here's 10 pieces, which I'm not very good at putting those pieces together yet. I postulate that I will be, but right now, meaning right now, where I'd like to get into profit sooner rather than later, I can leverage the experience of this entity, this person. Okay. I guess the only caveat to that is watch out for shiny objects. Okay. It's got to be pragmatic. It's got to be something that bears fruit. Otherwise, you could just invest money for the rest of your life in shiny objects that never put the puzzle together. So as long as it's putting the puzzle together, yes, we can have this legwork done for us. And isn't that exactly how every corporation runs? You know, yesterday we were talking about how businesses, particularly small business, right, mom and pop shops, restaurants, retail, et cetera, how they're adapting and overcoming with changing times, right? Excuse me. One of the we were talking with Ego a little bit, and I made a comment, as I recall. Ego is not currently running a multi-billion-dollar entity. Okay, that could happen, right? If that's her intent, and there's a bunch of effort that goes into that. But is it all going to be her effort? Just using one individual as an example. So you see, it starts with the individual and their willingness, just like Kiyosaki talked about in the cash flow quadrant, their willingness to jump uncomfortably, by the way, from one quadrant to another. I have been afflicted much of my life with the do-it-yourself syndrome or something. And look, with all due respect, right? You want something done right, you do it yourself. How many of you grew up hearing that? Lots of us, right? And lots of us who are also, personally responsible individuals, right? We tend to get things done. And you are, guess what? Guess what you are? If that's you, you're most likely to succeed. Yes, you are, to a degree. Yes, that will get you above mediocrity. It will. Yeah, self-reliance. Yeah, good stuff. But it won't get you into the realm of interdependence. So to pull a little bit from Steve Covey, those of you who have read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, there are 3 degrees, there are 3 positions, if you will, on the hierarchy of dependence, we can call it. So the lowest would be dependent, right? Certainly a child. A child is dependent, right? Legally and ostensibly, and in every fact, right? Here's an infant. They are a dependent. Got it. I think the challenge for a lot of adults, or I could say, 30, 40, 50-year-old infants, is that they've never graduated from dependence to independence. Independence, much higher, huge jump forward. And that's what I'm talking about. And I have found myself, and many times, in that spot of independence. And yes, that is a huge jump up from, reliance on others or something, some outside phenomenon that I don't even know. Something else is in control. I'm not in control. Therefore, I'm not responsible. Responsibility and control go together inseparably. Okay. Back to the idea of paying for an education, right? How do you accept more responsibility? How do you execute more control and causation in your life? You got to know stuff, right? So underlying all of this is you got to increase your own knowledge and apply that by expressing your own, personal causation, and thereby gaining control, right? So that knowingness and responsibility, willingness to act, right? Motivation, all that. And then the freedom and control that you desire in your life. All 3 of those are inextricably woven together, but that only gets you so far. Independence only gets you so far. Then there's the third rung on the hierarchy, which is interdependence. Here's the trick, my friends. And this is huge. So let's say that this third party entity, whatever you guys were talking about just before we went live, let's say that third party entity, which can do the boxing, the shipping, the whatever it is to make your life easier. Let's say they are independently competent at doing that. They don't know product selection. That's you do that. You damn well better be the guy who knows that, right? But they know how to do the logistical stuff for a fee. Fantastic. So here's you as an independent, successful entity, good at what you do. You know how to man your post, right? That's your post. just like on a, the old warships, right? So here's the captain, here's the gunner, here's the deckhand, right? The cook, right? The cook is not the engineer, right? Cook knows food, engineer knows engines, right? Man your post. Very good. So assuming we've all got an independent, competent person or entity manning their post, now we can have interdependence. The engineer's got to eat too. Thank you, cook, for being the cook, right? Thank you, engineer, for keeping this thing, running. See that? Cooperation. And that's how any capitalist type system has to work, right? In fact, the more accurate title, I suppose, for what we're all doing here would be cooperativism, right? Because it's not about the capital itself. That's the means of exchange. Fine, great. And that's everywhere in life that you look, right? I mean, just nature. I mean, it's all exchange, right? Exchange. Everything's constantly being exchanged. Energy and here's the droplets of rain and the tree grows. And you guys can see how this works, right? Carbon dioxide in, oxygen out, right? Exchange. That's just life, right? Some people want to argue with that, but that's just how that works. The true title of all that, I would call it cooperativism, if there was an ism that we needed to attach to something. You're also cooperating with your customers. So you're cooperating now. See the interdependence here? Here's you as a successful individual. Yes, you're getting stuff right. You're doing it yourself, but also you know that you can develop your strengths while managing your weaknesses with the strengths of others. Here is that other entity who can do better, and you know it. And they know it too. They damn well better know it. They can do this aspect of your business better than you. And isn't this how every corporation grows into that multi-billion-dollar entity or whatever? Do you think Steve Jobs knew everything about computers? No, he knew some stuff. And then here comes this ever-growing staff of people. And then you got Apple, right? So part of being responsible is knowing what you're not responsible for, knowing that you don't know and that other people can and should know, and they deserve to be remunerated, right? A servant's worth is higher. So my offering to you today is that anything you can do to accelerate your growth with confidence and with certainty, right? It's got proof of concept here. Like none of you would have bet on e-commerce and Amazon and growing this business if you didn't have some idea of confidence that this has this proof that it works, right? Funny enough, there are some people, and I know because I get to counsel with many of you in smaller groups and in private, there's some of you who have family members who are antagonistic to your efforts. Oh, nobody makes any of those kind of things. You think you're going to make money online? Go to get a real job, right? Despite the fact that you've had a real job and it sucked. And now you're looking to do something about it. You're reaching, right? But like crabs in the bucket, they pull you back in, right? You guys know if you've ever been out catching crabs, I grew up on the New Jersey shore, right? So we would go out in Barnegat Bay and there's, you put the chicken bones or whatever on a string, you put it in the water, the crabs grab it, you get a net, you get the crabs, right? And you got one crab in the bucket, right? And it can kind of climb its way out. As soon as you got a second crab, there's no need for a lid anymore because they're going to keep pulling each other back in. It's kind of interesting, but we're talking about a creature with no real ability to think, no reasoning, mental, faculty. Fine. You can think. Thank you. Right. Will you? I hope so. and so now we can be interdependent. We can develop our strengths and manage our weaknesses with the strengths of others. And I think that is the underlying principle that's allowing all of this to work. Do you have to do that? No, you don't have to do a damn thing. But I'll tell you what, it's a whole lot more fun to go fast than it is to go slow. Just look at how much we've celebrated people like Adrian when he, right, has demonstrated, oh, look, I just listed 15,000 products. Oh, one just sold out. Look at that. Can he do all of that himself? And, granted, the guy's really focused. At least that's my impression of Adrian. He's like having a blast. He's on a mission, right? Is he going to win them all? No, you can't win them all. You're going to lose them all? No, you can't lose them all either. Okay. But done. And then he becomes what? Competent. And as we already discussed, speed and competence go together. Competence and speed. It's fun to go fast, right? How many of you never exceed the speed limit? Come on, be honest. Never exceed the speed limit. Oh, I do all the time. Okay. Although, what's actually slowed me down, and then I'm going to shut up. What's actually slowed me down is when I started riding a motorcycle. I used to think nothing of doing 100 miles an hour in a car. Of course, you're in a cage, right? You're sheltered. It's all very nice. There's no wind. You get on two wheels and your feet are that far from the ground and you're seeing asphalt go by at 80 miles an hour. Oh my goodness, that is fast. So there's that, right? A bit of perspective. But it is fun to go fast. So anyway, I really appreciate you guys. And this whole topic just came out of the idea of creating some leverage via the strengths of others, which we're all doing here, obviously, right? You're not watching, free advice from people who would happily give it to you, right? You're getting real advice from people who know stuff. So hats off to all of you. Jamie Young, if you've got some ideas, I'd love to hear them, my friend. Jamie Young, sir, here he is.
I don't think I have. I mean, you touched all the bases there. I don't think there's a lot of smart people on here, much smarter than I am. And I'm sure they've thought of all this, but we don't think twice about paying the mandatory fees like taxes and import fees and what have you. I think the acronym is, it sounded like it was longer than this, but the DDP as I read it, which is the importer, the seller takes care of everything. The supplier takes care of everything. It's a temporary education. You don't have to pay that fee all the way through from start to, as you get educated, you don't need to do that anymore. You can take up that. So then you can either keep your price the same where your margin increases, or you lower the price, or you do whatever, you obviously need to do for your own business. It's just pass through, the customer's going to pay it. They don't know it's there. And if you're not extremely higher than everybody else, obviously, you're going to be fine. And all this is stating the obvious, but I wouldn't hesitate to pay the seller to take care of it from their doorstep to Amazon's doorstep, and then for it to just come out, to be sold on the internet. So that's my position. And there's people on here more experienced than I am, so they probably already passed that and don't need to spend that extra money. So that's kind of my 2 cents.
You know what, Jamie, you're getting a lot of love in a chat roll. You are smart, my friend. Yeah. The ability. What did Napoleon Hill say? I'll paraphrase here. He said the mark of an educated person. An educated person is one who can get whatever they want or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. Right. So there's Jamie, everybody. There he is. Bravo. Hey, Lynn, what's going on? I see Lynn's got her hand up here. Then we got Carol Ann, we got Regina and Joe. Hey, Lynn.
Okay, hi. Sorry, a bit off point. I just want to say that I haven't been on for a week. Last time I was here, I actually said, thank you, John, for the pep talk in making me realize that I need to keep going. And then the next day, my daughter, 23-year-old daughter, lost her job because of COVID-19. So I've been doing a massive parenting issue with her. And in the meantime, I've been trying to put products on Amazon because I had a jewelry shop, which I'm not opening because of COVID-19. Now I'm not reopening again. And yesterday I got my first sale. And so I'm so excited. So all of you who, when I was really down last Wednesday, and I wasn't successful in putting items, for sale on Amazon, and things were being rejected, and I had a lot of problems. And you were all so supportive, and particularly you, John, and Star, and so many other people, so lovely to me. And now I've got a sale, so I packaged it up myself because I've got very unique jewelry. Which I need to get rid of before I start on my main Amazon product finding task. Absolutely so well, and so thankful for this community, and thank you for all your support, and trust the process and you can do it.
Wow, well done. Congratulations, Lynn. So good to see you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for sharing your wins. Fantastic. Let's go to Carol Ann, then Regina and Joe. Hey, Carol Ann.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I've been delegating, and I've got my logo done, which I delegated, and I have now a ghostwriter, and I'm working on my trademark, and I'm getting all the pieces of the puzzle put together. So I'm really, I'm getting excited. I'm getting like one foot in front of the other, put the pieces together one at a time. I had my coach meeting on Wednesday for my second coach meeting. So I've gotten all that organized. I got homework to do, and yeah, I'm getting like, I can't believe it. Now I'm an entrepreneur, delegator, businesswoman.
Wow. Congratulations. So good to see you there, Carol Ann.
Thank
Making
you.
the progress.
Yeah, yeah.
Good times. Good times. Where's Regina and Joe? Let's see if we can hear and see them today. I guess not. But the answer is no.
There we
Oh,
go.
Here we go.
Hey, sorry, I was answering, didn't know I was still muted. Sorry about that. I have a question for Jamie and possibly for you. I've never really been a super confident delegator. I always was raised, and all my adult life so far is, you know, if you want something done, do it yourself. And I just felt more confident with that. But now as you grow with business, sometimes you just can't possibly run a successful business without delegating and some support. Now, what my question is, I was also always raised that you start from the bottom, work your way to the top, and you learn how to sweep floors before you do anything else. So the bottom line is here, if I want to delegate all these things to people to do for me, should I really do it on my own the first couple of times to know how to do it first in case, say, one of my links breaks? Or kind of like the kids in school today where they don't know how to write, they don't know how to read history, they don't know how to use anything without a computer. I mean, when something breaks, they're just dead in the water. So what I'm trying to say is how do I go from just starting to delegating without learning myself first? Or is that just a waste of time?
I'll tell you that's a tough one. And I've had difficulty with exactly that. And yeah, I think to like the guy who couldn't fix the water heater, where you throw your hands in the air and you say, you do it, here's some money. I've gotten to that point in various areas of my life. And the more I do it, the more comfortable I get in doing it. But I've also learned to pay for results. Like everybody's a contractor these days. Not everybody, that's a generality. Okay. But a lot of people are contractors these days. If you show up, let's say on Upwork or Fiverr or something like that, you pay for a result. But what else? Thinking around branding, there's a program called 99 Designs, right? Where you pay a fee. I know a few of you have used this, and then you get all these different designers to design your stuff. And then the fee goes to the winner, the one that you approve the proof, and you like it. For me, it's been a stop mostly just because of having grown up with, if you want something done right, you do it yourself. But there's some things that I've had to admit I cannot do for myself. I needed a voiceover and it couldn't be my voice. There's no way I could do that. I wound up grabbing a voiceover artist. I heard some samples. It's on Fiverr, I believe. Yes. And so it was $5 per, 10 seconds or whatever. And so I got the 20-second job. I paid $10. It was awesome, right? It was for the intro of a podcast. And so I needed a third party. There was me and my co-host doing the podcast, and there was a third party introducing the hosts, right? So it had to be not me and not the other guy. And it was fantastic. And it was fast, right? So that empowers me to say, yeah, I'll pay for that again. Good stuff. So we're kind of collecting vendors, if you will, or collecting contractors in my businesses that we could say, hey, I need this video editing done. Can I do my own video editing? I can. Is it laborious? Yes. Is it time consumptive? Absolutely. So as long as I can, if there's something that I know how to do, if I can knock it out faster than I can teach somebody else to do it, then I'll do it myself. If I can't, right? Or if somebody else is clearly better than me and it's worth the cost, delegate.
Yeah.
So
John,
yeah.
Just to add to that, and I think everybody either has read this or will, but I can't remember which book it was out of. There was a group of people that called Henry Ford stupid, and he invited them into his office, and he said, ask me any question you want. And they asked him a series of questions, and they got finished with the questions. He got on the phone and he called up some people that worked for him, and he brought in, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 people. And he said, they'll give you the answer because they know more than I do, because What I need to do is think, and the hardest part is to think. So that's just a story, I think, of delegation where, and what I meant earlier was that I think I'm smart, but I think there are smarter people than I am. And I think what I've learned in my life is that you surround yourself with smarter people, you're going to be that much more times successful. Yes, if you want it done right, do it yourself. However, as you said, there's just some things we don't know. And when you get people in the room, a contractor or somebody like you or somebody like Sophie, that experience is invaluable. So
Thank you, Jamie. Regina, does that, I don't know if that's hitting the mark?
I still have a little bit of a question there. The point is I totally agree that it's worth the time and the money to find the people to do the job probably better than I could ever do it, because you're right, there are people in the world that are much better at some things than other people. However, what I was trying to make, and I'm not sure if that's even something to discuss, is should I go through the steps to learn it before I delegate it? Just basically how to get from step A to step B to step C to D.
Can I
Yes.
comment on that, John?
You can, Graham.
Yeah, so as someone who run a big IT department, obviously there's lots of widgets and stuff to put together to make a particular IC system work. So for me, the key to delegation is actually I can't do some of the techie detail stuff that somebody else could do, but I know how to plug all the bits together to get the end result. So I think it's knowing the outcome you want, which is a little bit what you talked to earlier, John. You want your water heater fixed. So you know the outcome, you know what to expect when that job is completed, but you don't actually know how to fix the water heater. So for me, it's about, you need to know enough to know the steps that will need to be followed to get the outcome. So in our case, it might be, I need to get something from China through the American customs into Amazon warehouse. Now, I don't know all of the detailed steps to do that, but I know that I need to achieve that. And I've got to find somebody who can ship it from China to the US. I need to find somebody who can get it through the border into Amazon. So for me, it's about knowing those steps and knowing what good looks like rather than actually knowing every single piece that's involved in those steps. So I think if you have that overview as a manager or director of your own company or whatever you want to call it, then you're halfway there, because now you know when things are going wrong. Because if you don't know when it goes wrong, you don't know that you've got to fix it. You'll just sit there blindly letting it go wrong for a long time until suddenly, bang, it all blows up in your face. That's my 2 pence anyway.
Thank you, Graham.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you, John. Thank you,
You know
Jane.
what? I got a little anecdote here. I was looking at, because I do know a bit about video editing, and there was a time when Adobe Premiere, well, it still is the main professional software that a lot of like Hollywood studios use, Adobe Premiere, and then Apple came out with Final Cut X, Final Cut 10, and they dropped the price to like $300. Like, this is professional video editing software for everyone. And then there's motion graphics. You can get the $100 upgrade or whatever, like the whole package. You can go nuts for like $400. And I was thinking, oh, that looks good. Look at all the abilities in there. And I was thinking, and the manual's that thick. No sale, no sale. As tempting as that was, you know what? I'm not that interested. I'm interested, but you know what? Other people are swimming in data on this stuff. I've got things that I can do that they can't do. So let me do what I'm good at. I'll man my post and you guys go do the video editing stuff. I am not buying Final Cut, as tasty as it looks. So that's just an anecdote. That's how it turned out for me. I'm just not that interested. We've got a few other people with their hands, a lot of people. We got Selvin and then Kenneth and then Victoria. Hey, Selvin.
Hey, John. Hey, how you doing, everybody?
You know, for a guy who says you don't talk much on here, you keep showing up.
Yeah, I do, don't I? I just wanted to say, I think a lot of people can relate to what I'm about to say. When I was younger, okay, I can remember not having a lot of money, being a student, so I would fix my car myself, and I'd learn the skill to fix the car. But then as I progressed through life and I got my degree, got more money, I then looked and thought, well, I can pay some dude to fix the car because I can make more money doing something else, which is more productive. with my time, that is. Not that fixing cars isn't productive, but for me, that's not my core competency. And I just, and so throughout my own life, what I've done is each time I've assessed whether or not I want to learn something, I ask myself, well, is it a core competency? Is it something that I can still reuse later on? If not, no, I'll just pay somebody to do it. And I'll make money doing what I'm good at doing and then move on that way. And that's what I'd say. So that's all about that leveraging other people, so that's what I bring to the table.
Fantastic. Thank you, Selvin. And that was my core competency, and it made me like 40 grand a year at my peak. Of course, we're going back to the 1900s now. Good stuff. Where's Kenneth? And then Victoria. Hey, Kenneth.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Awesome.
Yeah, I just wanted to share and say thank you for this group. Wanted to share my win. I have 3 products listed now, and now I'm just waiting for the product to come in. But I wanted to let you know the importance of this group. It kind of keeps me accountable. When I get on and I hear the success of other people, it's like, okay, that's evidence. Like, I forgot who it was, but you guys know who this person is. They said that success leaves clues. And so this group also leaves clues, and all the reading we're doing, everything is coming together. So I just wanted to share one of my wins. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. So glad you're here, man. Always a pleasure to see you.
Likewise, likewise.
Let's go to Victoria, and then Jamie, you got your hand up again, and then Rosnita, go ahead, Victoria. Victoria. Victoria? Hello, Victoria? No, go on, Victoria. Andrea, your mic is unmuted. Andrea? No? Okay, let's go to Jamie. Jamie, did you have, no? Okay, let's go to Rosnita. Rosnita. What is going on here, guys? Hello.
John, I think Emmanuel wanted to talk. He had his hand raised on the screen.
Let's go to Rosnita and then Emmanuel.
Okay, so the way I see it is I assess my strengths and my weaknesses. And I think you should get joy from this business as well. So I love the creative process. So I'm very happy to pay someone else to do the boring stuff. So like, setting up my LLC, so that I can spend more time on the creative side. So I spend a lot of time on customization of products and getting my logo just right because I enjoy it. So pay more money to other people to do the boring stuff, so then you can spend your time on the fun stuff. That's how I see it. And what Selvin says is also very true. Use the time to make more money. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Rosnita. Rosnita just brought up a reminder for me, which has been referred to as left brain and right brain. You guys know what I'm talking about? So there's constructive and then there's creative, right? So left brain would be like the auto mechanic, right? And objective stuff could also be like computer coding, right? And then creative would be aesthetics and, music and appearances of, here's how we produce stuff. And we have both, obviously. Some people lean more one way or the other with that. Thank goodness for people who lean the other way with that, right? I'm not the guy who does the other thing. They think that's exciting. I don't think that's exciting. So very good. So we'll go to Nancy, then Leah, and then, oh, I'm sorry. We have Emmanuel who was not having his electronic hand up, but Emmanuel, you've got a comment, sir.
Hello, everybody. Third day here.
Welcome.
Yes, I'm enjoying the group. I can't wait to set my alarm and be here. I was just trying to address this delegating task. You have to always remember that there's a cost associated with the energy and the time devoted to doing anything you want to do. And I always remember this cost, and the energy and the time you devote, you can devote in building your business instead of doing other stuff. Delegate it to somebody else because it costs your time and your energy. Get it to somebody to do it while you devote that time to building your business. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Wow. And now we all know that we're underdressed. Now that we got to meet Emmanuel, I need a jacket and tie, man. You're looking sharp, brother.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right. All right. Let's go to Nancy and then Leah and then Mark. Hey, Nancy.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to see everyone. Thanks, Emmanuel. I'm going to piggyback right on what you said, which is everything's associated with the cost. So a brief story about plumbing. The person that I was living with, a friend of mine, very stubborn woman, and a woman who's very independent, wants to do everything herself, had some plumbing issues and was consistently trying to snake out her own sinks. Right. And primarily in the kitchen sink. And I was just floored by this. Like, why aren't you calling somebody to just do that for you? So she was also kind of tight with her money, but stubborn mostly. So she went away and I was at her home. And that smaller problem turned into a much bigger problem. Her pipe broke while she was away, which then ended up costing her thousands of dollars. And I have to tell you, when the plumber came over to take a look at what she had been doing, which was version of snaking and duct taping, he could not believe it. And what he ended up fixing was just a small portion of the problem. So just pausing on that. Then I want to talk about, I was feeling a little bit stubborn and trying to solve something myself and feeling that I didn't want to spend the money to ask for an attorney's advice. And then I really had to come to grips with why. And so I have an appointment with an attorney today, which is really great because that'll help me with my seller's account. And so I'm really excited about that. And then the last thing I want to share about interdependence and getting the people to do things that you can't do is I run a yoga business. And I realized that I actually have a lot of experience working with other people that are experts. For example, dealing with photographers, dealing with somebody to develop my website, dealing with people that troubleshoot on retreat sites and things like that. I don't do that myself. I reach out. So I have to be able to remember to use that skill set here. And it just came to me. So thank you so much. I'm feeling really just very grateful to be on this call.
Thank you. We're grateful that you're here as well. Thank you, Nancy. Let's go to Leah and then Mark. And then I thought I saw Adrian. Leah?
Hey, everybody. So I just wanted to go back to Jamie and him saying he's not so, as intelligent. I also take issue with that because it takes a certain amount of intelligence to even recognize that you don't know everything that you need to know. I read a fascinating article once in the New York Times about that whole subject and how there were police who caught some bank robbers because they had read something that said that they wouldn't be visible on camera if they had rubbed lemon juice on their faces. And they believed this and were caught immediately, obviously. But the point was that it takes intelligence to realize that you don't know everything and recognize that. So just saying.
All right. So for anyone who's under the false belief that lemon juice makes you invisible to security cameras, let us disabuse you of this folly. Right. Let's go to Mark. Mark, give us a profundity. I mean, this is getting more and more profound as we go. Here.
Profundity. Oh, gosh. Well, just a couple things. Practicality and trust I see in this. And what I mean is you have to make a decision on how much you want to get involved on a particular skill set or, something that requires certain certification or knowledge to do. And how much time you have to be able to learn that and either do it yourself or look to others. If you're in a position where you need to look to others, and you do have time to learn yourself, I think there's there's an issue of trust as well. And it's like being in a supervisory capacity or, in a delegatory capacity. If you do know the answer to something and you have learned to do it yourself, then you can ask a question that you do know the answer to find out whether somebody is telling you the truth and whether they're doing something that's, that's legitimate or if they're trying to snow you. So just food for thought. There's a lot of ways that you can skin this cat, but I'd like to err towards trust in a good sense, but it's also good to make sure that, and in this business, we're dealing with, especially in the international marketplace, you just don't know what the reality is sometimes. So there is a certain amount of trust that you have to give out. And you're saying to yourself, oh man, is this good? Am I giving them the reins? Or do you have the answer and you go out and you find out this person really did me right, or they did me wrong and you just learned a valuable lesson, you know where to go next. So
Thank you.
my 2 cents.
You know, great perspectives there from a man of much wisdom. Thank you, Mark. Always good to hear from you. Let's go to Adrian and then Koila and Yvonne. Hey, Adrian. Uh-oh. Where's Adrian?
I'm muted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you are.
Right, okay. Going back on everybody, I suppose it depends on the circumstances about doing it yourself and get somebody else to do it. Doing it yourself gives you a peace of mind, because let's take, for example, what we're doing now. You can fulfill by yourself, you can get Amazon to do it, or you can get a prep center to do it. If you do it yourself, you know exactly how you want it done. If you don't, and you say send it to a prep center, they might be doing it completely different how you want it. So that's why I would suggest, well, why I'm doing it, I do it myself until I know exactly how I want it. Then I can pass that information onto a prep center or Amazon saying, this is how I want it, because you've done it, you know it works. And I think it depends on the circumstances. I'm not that intelligent. I left school with hardly no qualifications, but I was determined to do what I'm doing. I looked at, if I was stuck on something, I looked up on the internet. I went on YouTube, got all the information. The information is there if you need it. You can get it from anywhere. And I just want to say that.
There you go. My only caveat that I would offer would be make sure that there's fruit on the tree, right? So like free advice can be some of the most expensive advice you ever get. So interesting consideration. Thank you, Adrian. And look, your fruit is on the tree. Like you're getting results, man. So well done. Always good to hear from you. Let's go to Koila and then Yvonne, and I think we're going to wrap up with that.
Hi there.
Hi.
There's about 3 things I want to say. There's a funny thing about knowledge, you know, when you're quite young, you think you can know everything, kind of, and you spend the rest of your life learning that the more you know that you don't know, if you see what I mean. You know, you're never going to know everything because it's not possible. You just have to understand that, yes, you can look things up, but sometimes it's just better to find the other person whose area of expertise that is. And then I'm reading at the moment a book called Emotional Intelligence, and that is a very interesting book, and it goes into this smartness thing and the fact that there's definitely more than one sort of smart, and there's more than one sort of talent, you know, and we need everybody with all of those smartnesses, and we've all got a kind of different combination of them. So I think you must not be down talking yourself and saying you're not smart, because you definitely are. It just depends on what variety of smart you are, and book learning is not the only sort of smart there is. In fact, it's probably the most useless sort of smart sometimes. And I can't remember what the third thing was, so it can't have been that important.
Well, it's always good to see you, my friend. What a great group we've got here, everybody. This is fantastic. Let's wrap up with Yvonne, and if there's any burning desires. Hey, Yvonne.
Hello. Can
There
you
she
hear me
is.
okay?
Yes.
Yeah. This is my first time speaking on here. So hi, everybody. I'm learning so much from everybody, and from you as well, John. It's fantastic. The amount of knowledge and the amount of the giving from everybody is just brilliant. I just wanted to say on this, the issue of do you do it yourself? Do you outsource? There are certain things that at my time in life now, I understand that it's too time consuming and too energy consuming for me to actually learn to do it myself. And so I would rather give it to somebody else, outsource it, rather than fail or feel that I failed. So because if I fail, or if I perceive myself to have failed, then that will hold me back, it will set me back, and it will stop me from progressing. So like a lot of people have said, if I identify something that I cannot get my head around, then I don't have a problem outsourcing it and giving it to somebody that will do the job. Obviously, you have to keep an eye on those people and make sure that you get what you want and you get value for money. but that's where I'm coming from on the outsourcing. I think, yes, if you can outsource it with confidence, then I would do that.
There you go. And welcome. So good to meet you, Yvonne. That's Yvonne, everybody. There she is.
Hi, thank you so much.
Glad you're here. All right, we're going to take any burning desires you got to share before we wrap up. Julian, you're unmuted. Julian?
No, it was just, I was going to mention something about the delegating, but I think it's been done to death now.
We've delegated to death. Thank you, brother. So good to see you, man.
And you.
All right. Now Coelho's got her hand up again. And Nicola, any burning desires here? We good? Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
Oh, you muted. You muted, Coelho. There she is.
I've remembered what the third thing was, and it's just that I've learned how to do an awful lot of tasks and things during my life. And what I would say about the delegating thing is, of all the things I can do, it always takes me a lot longer than somebody who really knows how to do it. So it just depends on whether there's satisfaction for me in doing that task, or whether it's just something that needs to be done, and that it would be better to get somebody who can do it fast and not waste my time. So I think that's a reasonable way to look at things, really. Is there satisfaction in you for doing it for you to do that task? Or is it just better to get somebody who really knows how to do it and who'll do it much quicker?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and who is quite satisfied and pleased with their work, right? So like the video editing thing, I can do it, okay. It takes me a long time. Somebody else loves doing this stuff. Guess what? I'm the talent. They're the video editor, right? That's the relationship. Good stuff. Thank you. Nicola Jedediah, S. Anderson, we all good? Yep. Nicola?
John, it's Susan.
Hey.
You there? Hi. Hey, I just want to be real quick. Julian, you have a board behind you with two sayings on it. One of them says, "Where there's a will, there's a way." Can you read the one above that?
Strive for perfection in everything you do. Take the best that exists and make it better. When it doesn't exist, design it. Accept nothing nearly right or good enough.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I should know that off by heart. I've had that with me since I was 21.
That is awesome. Thank you. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Susan. Glad you're here.
So, John, just on the delegation thing, I can't remember
Yes,
the lady that, just briefly, what the lady that mentioned about the link breaking in your. So I understand that, because I think what I learned in the past was that I wanted to do everything myself. So when we were shipping in from containers, and I went and got my forklift license. So if the guy that worked for me let me down or pissed me off, and then I had nowhere to unload the container. So I think if you've got the time, then it is important to learn all aspects of the process that you're going through. But there comes a point when you need to let go of that and delegate. So I tried to do everything myself for years. I wouldn't then recruit anybody I thought couldn't do the job better than me. Then in the end, I started employing graduates and people because it was just too big, and areas that I couldn't manage and do myself. So I think for me, I get the whole control thing. You want to be able to do all the processes, but if there's a point where you need to let go. So my advice to anybody in business after a period of time is, I think it's like Mark says, you need to have a handle on what's going on and understand it all. But then there's an element of, if you can make more money doing something else and also doing the stuff that you enjoy as well, because I would certainly outsource. I mean, I've already geared up somebody to do all of the boring stuff. Like, as Rowena was saying, about all this stuff that has to be fun. Because if it's not fun, you don't enjoy doing it. It's all the creative stuff I enjoy doing. So I want to hang on and do that myself. But the rest of it, once I've learned the process, I'll ship that out to somebody else to do. They can do all the boring stuff.
Right. And you're getting requests for the quotes. So now you need to deliver the quotes, and also you need to show us what shirt is hanging on your wall. So you're getting your wall is getting a lot of exposure today.
The yellow shirt, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, the yellow shirt. What is that?
That's a Brazil shirt signed by Pele.
Signed by Pele. Wow. There you go. One of the most famous soccer players. I'm not even into soccer, and yet I know all about Pele.
And then
going to school. Lunchbox.
I'll type up before we go. If I get time, I'll type up the quote and I'll send it out. But yeah,
very good. So we got Burning Desires going here. David, Nicola, Jedediah.
Hi, John. Hi, everybody. It was something that Koila said, kind of gelled with me, and an experience I had in the late 80s in Japan. It was the bubble years, and things were really good. And I was sent out there as a junior sales executive and enjoyed that lovely time. And I thought Japan was a wonderful place. It has to be said, each time I went back there, and I suppose since then I've been there 25 times, it's got more and more confusing. I mean, it's a culture that is just so different. And what I particularly remember was, I don't know if anybody speaks Japanese, but the word for yes is hai. And there was many a sales executive who went to Japan and came back and was able to report to their bosses that things were really good. I had lots of height. But the problem is that hai in Japanese doesn't mean yes, I agree. It means yes, I understand. So it's yes, I understand what your price is. I understand what you're trying to do, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you agree. And so it's just kind of perspective on this and the warning. I thought I'd like to share that.
Very good. Thank you, David. Interesting cultural observations there. Guys, we're coming to the top of the hour. Nicola, you had a comment?
Yeah, I'll make this really quick. It's off subject. This was Monday's subject. So I just wanted to say massive thank you, because I think what I took from that has been a game changer for me this week. So that was your suggestion on how you structure your diary. So put specific slots, assign them to tasks and activities. So I've started doing that as of Monday, and I've probably achieved more in these 4 days than I've achieved in like the past few weeks. And I was already quite structured. So I think this is a bit of a game changer for me. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with me. That is beautiful, guys. This is part of, why I do what I do, is to get that sort of feedback. Thank you for applying it. That's good
Just
stuff.
the focus, and I don't let myself move on to the next slot until that one is finished.
Right. Wow. Beautiful
I
stuff.
love it. It's great.
Jedediah, you have some closing comments?
Oh, yes, with respect to delegation of duties, I think it's good. However, it all depends on the kind of duty one is delegating. If it's something that has to do with health and safety that is of high risk, that and has a lot of technicalities in it, I think it should be delegated. It should be delegated to a specialized person who is well trained and certified to do such job. But if it's something that is non-technical, that's not of any high risk or risk, so to say, then I think one should give it a shot and try to save that cost. You may not get it right the first time, but the learning curve will always improve if you are determined. Thank you.
Thank you, Jedediah. Great
John?
words to close on. Yes, Julian?
Just briefly, I'll that's that quote. I don't think you can see it. I'll put it in the chat tomorrow.
Very good. Everyone show up tomorrow for Fun Friday. Bring a joke, bring an animal, and Julian will bring quotes. And we will have we will have our event tomorrow. You guys, we got to run. We've got people, other appointments coming up. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great day or evening wherever you are. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.